Are you ready? Did you light the candle? Okay, let's start the ritual. Welcome to Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I'm your host, Rachel. This is a space where truth gets its voice back because shame loses its power when we speak to it. Here, we don't skip the hard parts. We sit with them and we learn to hold ourselves inside them. This podcast is ritual in audio form, a way for us to bring intention and intuition back into our everyday. Let's dig into our roots and go deep. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Intuitively Wild podcast. I am so happy to be here and to be back with my favorite co host, my mom. And today we are talking about a couple of things. The main theme is how May is Mental Health Awareness Month and how that kind of weaves into so many different things. But we're going to recap our first mother and daughter circle, which was yesterday. And we're going to talk about our intentions for our next one. We're also going to talk about a new offer that we are going to be doing monthly that we're starting in May. And just Mental Health Awareness Month in general and why that topic is so important to us individually and collectively, our relationship. And yeah, does that sound good?
Sounds really good.
Okay, so how about we start with recapping our first mother and daughter circle that was yesterday? I mean, obviously, so when this comes out, it will have been about a week or two ago.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, do you want to start, Mom? Do you want to share anything?
Sure. Um, it was profound. It was really special in so many ways. It's really hard to describe, but I felt that it just reinforces what we know, which is the power of relationship and conversation in one's life, and how conversation, open, honest, authentic, vulnerable conversation is healing, which is, I know, a theme to relationships, and how relationships also reveal to us as individuals so much of our own identity, and how so I thought that it was a very beautiful experience. I'm so grateful to the courage of the um, people who reached out and showed up, and to you for spearheading this, and allowing me to be part of this experience. Very special. I'm very excited for our future ones.
Yeah, it was very special. I feel similarly. I have a couple of things to say. One, it really, every relationship is an opportunity to grow and to see yourself in a new way. And a lot of people say that there's nothing as confronting as, you know, a romantic relationship and that partnership. And I'm sure that's true. But I really do want to say that I don't think there's anything as deeply intertwined as a relationship between a mother and a daughter. There's just some sort of ancestral link, this mirror that it really reflects back. It really confronts, it's confronting, reflective. It forces you, if you go deep into that relationship, to heal on levels that you really can't anywhere else. And I think it can be very profound and deeply healing, not only individually and for the both of you in your relationship, but also for future generations, for everyone in your family. Like it's quite profound.
Yes, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and also the fact that we all have our stuff, you know, that this is something that was expressed in the circle, which is that just hearing every like different people's experiences and my mom and I sharing our own experience reminds us that like no one's perfect. We're all moving through it. And the number one, the only reason why my mom and I are so close is because we've gone through things together and we've talked
That's
about it
right.
and we have been willing to go there. And that
Mhm.
is what it takes. And it does take a lot of courage, and vulnerability and willingness and openness. And that can be very challenging, especially for both people in the relationship to have that. So,
But
yeah.
it is so immensely gratifying and growth giving, that it's so worth it. And yes, it's a lot of work, but it is, at some point there was this element of in the circle that there were with very, very hard topics being explored in safety and acceptance in the group, that there's this feeling of lightness, that there in that when you can share and share openly, um and vulnerably and courageously, it as scary as it is and as hard as it is, there is a feeling of freedom on the other side that is just liberating. I mean, that really is the word that I'm thinking. And I feel that, that was expressed back to us. There was a very, there was a heaviness, in relationship in the beginning. And the feedback that we got was that through our circle, our 90-minute experience, sure, it's first steps, but there was a feeling of breathing. There was a feeling of lightness. And I think that that is the value of this, and what makes it so, and the deepening of the relationship, yes, but just even in your own self, that you don't even realize when you don't talk about the hard things, how much you carry internally and what a toll that takes on your being. And when you can express in a safe and supported atmosphere, um, it is extremely healing.
Yes. And I'm smiling because I'm also just I agree with all of that. But it also was really interesting to be in this dynamic to get like with us because we've never been in
Yes,
this kind of dynamic together. And they really
absolutely.
definitely highlighted our differences, but how
Hmm.
they do very much support each other. Um,
Yes,
and in the past, we never would have been able to do this together. Mainly
I
because
was thinking that too.
I mean, I think a bunch of different things would have happened, but I probably would have gotten annoyed with how wordy you were or how long you took. Like,
Right. And I would have been impatient with your wanting to, refer to a structure when I was going more into the kind of organic, free flowing thing. But I don't know, the stars aligned, and I feel, I hope I'm not, boasting, but I feel like there was a dance, and it wasn't by accident. I think it's, as you say, I think it it was sort of this kind of culmination, and I don't mean to say it's the end point because it's constantly growing, but it was a juncture for us to really see in real time um the work we've put into our relationship, our differences, and our respect for those differences, and how they kind of dovetailed. I think that they really worked in harmony.
Hmm.
I hope everybody else felt that way. That was certainly the feedback we got, but I don't think you and I, because it did just happen yesterday. Um, that particular aspect, we've really even processed together. Did you
Yeah,
feel that?
I did feel that. And I think that you it just is an energetic, so much of life is energy, and it's just an energetic feeling when you allow things to flow naturally. And I was saying this in my R&I episode, which I think will have come out last week, but I'm so grateful to be working with so many people. I choose my collaborations very with a lot of discernment. And the people I've collaborated with so far, it's just like such an ease. And even when I'm talking to them and kind of tuning into if it's going to be a good fit, you can kind of just like feel how things kind of like click into place. And we've always had that. We very much click into place with each other. I mean, if we're talking about energetics and in human design, I won't go into the whole thing, but there is something in our charts which we very much is very supportive of each other and us aligning with our fullness and our full capacity and gifts when we're together. And I think, think things maybe prevented that just because we're mother and daughter and we were going through our own healing journeys. I was a teenager, like growing. And now because of the work we've done, because of who we've become individually and how we show up in our relationship and the appreciation we've grown for each other, and also how well we know each other, it now allows us to show up in this way.
Yes. And as a mother of this amazing woman, I must say that there were periods of time during the circle when I had to almost remind myself that this is my baby who has become, I mean, we were like two colleagues, different styles, but who know each other so intimately. And while the group it's not didactic, it's not a workshop, people should know there's not a class, but Rachel and I are the facilitators, and I felt that we were peers as professionals. And, it really took me, like my ride home from High Falls is also about 90 minutes. And I will tell you that during every minute of that ride home, I was processing this and realizing this. And I can't even put into words how special that has been for me. So just so grateful and proud.
So fun. um, and that the main, again, underscoring the main reason we are have the relationship we do now is because of conversation, really, and talking things
Yes,
through. And that was prompted by mainly my mental health journey
yes,
and what I've been through and coming to you and knowing that certain dynamics needed to be shifted.
yes,
And this kind of transitions us into May, the theme being Mental Health Awareness Month, and the theme, I guess the theme of May being mental health awareness. But this is just something that I is a foundation, even if it's not always explicit, it's a foundational component of every single thing I offer at Intuitively Wild because I just believe it's a foundation of our life. Like without strong mental health, we have nothing. I mean,
I
maybe
would
this
agree.
feels true for different people to varying degrees, depending on their experience, but I know it's very true for me. And I, if we were not able, if you were had not been willing to sit down with me and have conversations and talk things through and work through things, we would never, I don't know what our relationship would be. I don't know, you know? And so we heal through conversations, which is
Yes.
actually the title of the other offer we are starting in May, which will also be a monthly offer. It's called Healing Through Conversations, and it's going to be a little bit different than this mother and daughter circle. First of all, it's for absolutely everyone of any gender, age, race, anything. I mean, so is the mother and daughter circle for the most part.
Not
Other,
any,
not
right,
any gender, but
gender, but
if you
right.
identify with being a mother or daughter, you are welcome.
You are more than
But
welcome.
for Healing Through Conversation, it's for everyone. And each month will have a different theme.
Mhm,
The month of May, the theme is grief. And
mhm.
how, at least this first one is going to be structured, is we're going to have some speakers talk about certain experiences. And really, we're still locking in the speakers, but the people who I hope will be speaking, it's going to be really powerful and meaningful and I think really interesting for everyone.
Right.
So really excited about that. We'll have some speakers, and then we will, depending on, then we'll come into groups and have some discussions, and my mom will be facilitating that. I might be as well, but I also will be leading some ritual in the beginning and the end, just with some breathing and check-ins and stuff like that. And it will just be a time for sharing and processing and listening and healing. And I think we really underestimate how much can shift and change by coming to a space and sharing and
Exactly.
knowing that in that space you like and you don't have to you don't have to hold back. You don't have to worry about, what you're going to say or how you're going to be perceived, or you don't have to, what's the word I'm looking for? Like worry about other people. Like you can just, obviously, we always want to speak with care and compassion and intention from our heart. Um, but in the sense of worrying about judgment or shame or anything along those lines, this is a space to just
Yeah. I
let
mean,
it
because
be
that
seen.
is exactly, and I think that's one of the key components of all of mental health is to really tune into your own self and speak from a heart-centered place and trust that the space we're creating will hold you. And I think it's important also at this juncture to make sure people understand that it is safe and that nobody that it that you can come as many times as you want. In other words, it doesn't have to be like just, well, I open up during this one time and then what? We are offering them and even though even though the various um, offerings of healing through conversation will have central themes, there'll be a through line of, whatever is coming up for somebody, right? And Rachel and I are also available in the interim
Mm-hmm.
to check in with and to have supportive services of whatever kind, feel important.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is also something that came up a lot in our circle yesterday was how it can be so easy for us to police what we're going to say. I mean, this is touches on what I was saying before, but not only because of fear of shame or expectation or judgment or whatever, but also because of um, wanting to, what is the word I'm looking for? Um,
Well, what came up yesterday, I don't know what the word is, but what came up yesterday is that there there's a lot of concern that what an individual may bring up is going to trigger another person.
yeah, yeah. There's a concise
So
word you,
taking on the emotional
yeah.
energy of somebody else and worrying that what you bring up will overwhelm somebody else. Is
Yeah.
that kind of what you're
Yes,
talking
there
about?
was one succinct word for it, but it doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying. And I think, and something that is also really healing and supportive of these kinds of rituals and circles is that you can lay that to rest. Like you can trust that
Exactly.
in this space, I mean, it I mean, the facilitators, we are like we can
That's right. We'll
navigate,
take
like we can hold that, and we can help.
that's our job is to make sure everybody feels okay.
Yeah,
But
and that's
you is the yeah,
no,
exactly.
and that's part of the benefit of doing it in these groups is because if something does come up, you have a third party to help you navigate and talk through it, and you have other perspectives, and you also get to see yourself. You might be so lost in something when you're saying it just to someone you're close with or having this challenge with. But when you say it in front of other people or in a different environment, you can realize different things. You can see things from a different perspective. You can pick up on different energy. And so a lot can transpire in those situations.
Exactly. Exactly. It is an absolute safe healing space that I can say unequivocally. And we are always looking, just to say also, we are always interested and value very, very deeply feedback.
Oh, yeah. I want the
If
feedback.
yes, and as do I. And if there is something that is not either resonating or feels too raw or feels, you know, unsafe for whatever reason in that moment, we want to know about it, or at any moment that you feel comfortable talking about that, because yeah, we are trained, but we are also human. And yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. This is kind of off. Yes, we always want, if anything ever makes anyone uncomfortable, I always want to know about it 100%. I mean, in the moment or afterwards. And with that being said, no one's ever going to be forced to speak.
That's
There
right.
is a lot of benefit also to just showing up and listening to other
That's right.
people. And
I'm
that
so glad you said that. Yes.
because when I was in treatment and we had these groups all the time, there were many times, especially in the beginning, where I was not ready to speak.
Hmm.
And just listening or just saying one thing or observing other people, that really helped me heal and also learn how to speak up, gain the
Hmm.
confidence and the practice. And it, especially for the healing through conversation, you can come by yourself, you can come with others, and it can be like, say you come by yourself, it can be a good place to practice starting to speak up and then bring
That's
that
right.
out into the rest of your life, And yeah,
Absolutely.
I just, I'm just so passionate about helping people start to speak up about things that they have felt shame about in the past or presently or just thought that they couldn't talk about or could never change or were completely alone in, especially when it comes to emotions and ways we're struggling. So, yeah, I really
Yeah,
hope that this can be a space where we can kind of break through those barriers.
absolutely. Yes, and your passion comes from a very, very personal place. I mean, you have so much training and so many modalities, but you have your personal journey that
Oh,
is the
do
most
I?
powerful. Yes, you do. And that, you know, that has been, I go out on a limb and say, I mean, you say it all the time, so it's not really a stretch to say that has been the greatest guide and teacher of
Yeah.
all.
And one thing, I mean, obviously, and you have your experiences and your
Do
your
indeed. I do indeed.
your degrees as well. But one thing I will say is that treatment really gives you, like, I feel like I went to grad school in treatment. And one thing I am very grateful for is the people I met in my recovery process. Um,
Hmm.
and the stories I was able to hear and that like the I mean, traveling and treatment really gave me so much exposure to life and different people's stories, and helped me expand outside of my own little bubble in a way that I just don't think can be replicated and I think is so important. And that's helped me just as profoundly as my trainings and other experiences helped me learn how to navigate these conversations and how to hold space for other people and be a good listener and come with no judgment. I mean, I really just don't think there's anything anyone could say to me. I mean, that's like, this is probably not true, but in this realm that I would really have judgment, that I would judge, or that, I could, that would shock me. Like
Right.
I've heard, seen, done it all. Like so
You certainly have
I
had
mean,
quite the journey. And I just want to say, I did go to graduate school for many, many years, and I have the pedigree. And I will say, and I value it because I had incredible mentors and experiences, and I'm ever so grateful. And the most impactful learning that happened was in my own therapy. And maybe it was the confluence of everything and doing internships and, being on, the front lines and all the different experiences I had in hospitals and schools, clinics, but truly my own self inquiry. And I was, and the individual who guided me with that, there was no, I can't imagine, sort of calling myself whatever you want to call my title without that piece of it,
yeah.
even though
Well, that
that
I
was
mean,
not written as requirement.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I think that's one reason why that's a requirement for someone in many different modalities. But that's the embodiment piece, and that you can only
Right.
go as deeply with others as you have gone with yourself.
That is the very, very true statement. That's like,
Um,
that's it right there.
yeah, but I'm thinking of other people in our family even who are not as comfortable with these conversations and yet still through us showing up in these conversations going first or just like them witness like this person other people witnessing our conversations it does have an impact. So again
Yeah.
you don't have to ever speak if you're not feeling comfortable. You can start with where you're
Right.
at. You can bring other people who maybe are not as far along on the path as you are. um, and this is not just for our healing through conversation or mother and daughter circle. This is for every offer at Intuitively Wild. Um, and even in general, Um, but so yeah. And we're definitely open to different ideas for themes, or topics.
Absolutely.
So if you have any, or for speakers,
That's right.
if you know someone who has a story to share or a message, in this kind of healing mental health realm, we would love to
Welcome
hear
it.
from you. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, yeah. Do you have any other thoughts or topics you wanted to bring up, Mom?
Not right now. I think we really covered it. I mean, I'm just very, very excited about, you know, I'm very curious and excited about the unfolding of all of this, and look forward to doing this with you, of course. That's the best part. I
Yeah.
get to do it with you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is very exciting. Very exciting. Um, okay. I think that's
All
all for
right.
now.
Okay. So,
Thank you everyone for listening. And hopefully we will see you in person at one of our offers this month.
yes.
Um, but either way, we're sending you all so much love, and we will see you next time for more magic. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Intuitively Wild, the podcast. I hope it helped deepen your connection to yourself, sparked some insights, and inspired you to live intuitively wild. If you enjoyed this podcast, it would mean so much to me if you would share it with others and leave a rating and review. And please reach out to me. I would love to connect with you. I will see you next time for more magic.